Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Meditation today is a very common word, and thanks to its popularity today, that is no longer a frightening word. However, when a name or a thing gets very popular, it gets to itself many connotations and misinterpretations also. And especially when it becomes a very sellable commodity, there's a lot of misuse of it also. What is meditation? First we have to understand. Then why or what is the purpose of meditation? Then what to meditate upon, how to meditate, what are the obstacles in meditation, how to remove these obstacles, and how should a meditator live in this world. And yesterday we had spoken on who is fit for meditation. So who is the meditator? If we have to do something properly, we must have a clear and complete knowledge of it. Therefore in the Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says that Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat. We say very often in this world that practice is more important than knowledge. anyone who is even studying medicine or wants to study medicine, you already start calling him a doctor, is it not? Don't you do that? And by now, 2 days you have attended these spiritual talks, people at home are already calling you a Swami. Is it not? So when you're on the way also, that is also considered as though reaching your destination. Therefore, many things go under the name of meditation. However, they are preparations to meditation. What is meditation? First and foremost, we must recognize that what is it that we all are trying to achieve? What is it that we all are trying to gain? One thing common we all can understand, that one thing common all of us want is happiness. Is it not? We all want is sorrow. Yeah, people are nodding their head. Yeah. Don't be mechanical listeners. Meditation, first lesson in meditation is total attentiveness. So we all want sorrow. Really speaking, that's what we want. Because everything in life that we do leads us to sorrow only, is it not? Yeah. But we do not want sorrow, we want happiness. Guru Nanak Sahib says so beautifully that all of us strive for happiness, never for sorrow. And yet in life we experience mainly sorrow. There are joys, but you ask anybody, they never seem to be happy. Why is that? We all seek happiness and yet we are not happy. We all are working for happiness, but everything that we seem to do leads us only to sorrow. So we all want happiness, but we really do not know what really happiness is and where does happiness lie. We all want peace, is it not? We all want peace. And what are we doing to attain peace? We struggle. And the moment you struggle, you lose your peace. Is it or is it not? Irony of it is, we want peace, but we struggle. Now this is very important. Even in meditation, you want peace, and yet in meditation if you struggle, how can you have peace? Think. Yet by doing nothing, you can't attain peace either. Therefore in Ashtavakra Gita, a beautiful statement is there. Aprayatnat prayatnadva mudho napnoti nirvritim tattva nishchaya matrena pragyo bhavati nirvritaha. One of the highest books of Vedanta is Ashtavakra Gita. In that, it's a dialogue between a realized master and almost realized master. Between Ashtavakra and Janak Maharaj. And there the secret of peace is given, where the Guru says that neither by not struggling or by struggling an ignorant person can get peace. See, if you struggle, peace is lost. By sitting back and doing nothing also, peace is not gained. See, the irony of it is, therefore the truth is you cannot gain peace. Because peace is not something to be gained. Peace is to be only discovered. Peace is already there. Before you entered this hall, what was there? Peace. You came in, started chatting with each other, the microphone went on and the adjustments of the mic went on and we disturbed the peace, is it not? Then you just heard, shh, Swamiji is coming, Swamiji is coming, Swamiji is coming. Yeah. For a moment there was a peace. Then everybody stood up. Dum, 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 all the chair noises, right? Okay. Then you sat down. And the Swami started talking over the mic. Where will there be peace? And what we have to do to gain peace? Shut up. Is it not? We have to remove those factors that disturb our mind. Peace is not to be produced. Peace is already underlining my conversation right now. The fact that you can hear me, it is because peace is in the background. Yet the peace was there, we disturb the peace. And what you have to do to gain the peace is remove the disturbance. Remove the Swami from here. Here. The 600 people will also disappear. Yeah. And this place will be peaceful. Thus, peace is not something to be gained. Peace is always here and now. And where there is peace, there is happiness. Happiness is a sense of fulfillment, a sense of contentment. When there is want for more, there can be no peace and there can be no happiness. That alone is happiness which gives you satisfaction. If after marriage you're not satisfied with your spouse, can you be happy? If after marriage you want another marriage, are you a happy person? You say, wow, really, great guy. The fact is, you go, let's take an example. You go to a party to eat. And after eating in the party, if you come back home and tell your wife, I still want to eat, which means you are not satisfied. Thus, happiness is in satisfaction, and that happiness can be gained only when we have a sense of infinitude. Infinitude, happiness, peace, a sense of success in which there is fulfillment. All this is possible only in the infinite, never in the finite. Therefore the Upanishads also have said, Yo vai bhuma tat sukham na alpe sukham asti. That which is infinite alone is happiness. Other than that, there can never be happiness, because it will always leave you dissatisfied. Therefore, this happiness, this peace, this fulfillment that we are all seeking, this is not something to be gained by struggling. It is attained by discovering. And therefore, meditation, the word samadhi or meditation, is not something to be done. It is a state where you abide in the infinite. And that infinite is not something separate from you, because if it is separate from you, it is finite. Therefore, abidance in your own true nature, abidance in your higher self, abidance in the infinite, abidance in God, whatever you may call it, and that God cannot be separate from you. What separates you from God is your own mind, which creates the ghost of the ego. Now you see, there is light here. That light is everywhere. But the moment I start shaking my hand in it, the shadow that you see of darkness moving on the ground is not of the light, but it is of my hand. What obstructs your infinite potential, your happiness, your peace, your beauty, your purity to express itself is this mind. Thus, if the mind is clear, if the mind is steady, just like the waters of a still lake somewhere in New Zealand or up in the Himalayas like the Mansarovar, you will see in that the reflection is very clear and steady. I remember I go for we have a number of retreats in New Zealand up in the mountains, and the lake there is so crystal pure and still that I remember one night we were just walking on the banks of that lake, and even the stars could be seen reflected in the water. If the mind is clear, the mind is steady, in that you can see the infinite reflected. In such a personality outside in the world, you see that person shining like the star, shining like the moon, brilliant like the sun, because through that person, the truth, the infinite, the divine manifests in its full glory, and such a person you call as a saint, a prophet, a messiah, an avatar. And remember one thing, those very avatars, those very saints and sages, those very scriptures, those very rishis have said, even you can be that. And their aim was that where nature stopped, nature took life from a unicellular creature or even from inert atoms to evolve into its very pristine crown of creation, and that is a human being. That's why for children we have this camp generally, and today of course with that new cartoon that's come out, and we tell them from human to Hanuman, because they like to say Hanuman, they won't say Hanuman. So from man to Hanuman, from man to Superman. And Superman not one who can just fly, but for whom nothing is impossible. That is what the Rishi culture wanted to create, and they did create many a times in the history of our country. Mighty intellects in mathematics, in sciences, in astrology, astronomy. They did it because they learned a secret. Yeah. Nature provides instinct. Human beings have come with their own blueprint, their vasanas, their destiny. However, man has developed a particular equipment called as the intellect. And therefore, human beings have got a choice. Many times you look at animals, we feel they're better off than human beings, isn't it? Yeah? Don't you feel that way? Don't you sometimes that dogs are better? Yeah? Think. Yet, human beings have got choice, and the reason they have got choice is because they have got an intellect. Yet, having got a choice, not many people progress in life, even materially. Those who execute their choice, they progress. Others only go through their destiny as their destiny takes them. That's why very often people ask, no, how do these astrologers predict everything? Yeah. Because most people are never going to make any change. Because they don't use their intellect. Therefore you see in Bhagavad Gita also, when Arjuna starts off, that Arjuna who's achieved great mighty things, great wonderful things, a mighty archer, a man of great concentration, he's achieved it. He's even called by Krishna as Savyasachin, left-handed archer. Arjuna could hear the sound of an animal and shoot an arrow. and hit the mark. If there was a wild animal, he could hit the mark. Yet that Arjuna realizes when it comes to meeting life's situations and especially dealing with emotions and dealing with people, you will find you can even run a big business empire, but even all business empires, their main problem is human resources. Is it not? Dealing with people. In family also, dealing with people. Making choices. And here Arjuna is faced by the choice. Should he or should he not? Given a choice, progress is possible. Where there is no choice, there is no progress. But having got a choice, therefore human beings also have got confusion. Animals have got no confusion. Animals have got no stress. It is because we have got a choice that we have got stress also. So that which is our asset can also become our drawback. This mighty intellect tool that we have the equipment, but as Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, having got this intellect, having had this intellect, yet we are unable to use it. Therefore he says, Karpanya dosho pahatasva bhava prichhami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. Hey Krishna, I am confused and therefore unable to act. I am confused, I am unable to act. Why? Because Karpanya dosha. The word Kripana has been used in the Upanishads in terms of a miser. In terms of a miser. He says this miserliness has overtaken my intellect. Which means, who's a miser? Who has the wealth but never uses it. Yeah? Who has the talent but never uses it. Who has the knowledge but never shares it. Such a person is called as a miser. A poor person cannot be called a miser. The poor guy doesn't have money to spend. But a person who has got wealth and does not use that wealth, then such a person is called as a miser. He says, I have the intellect, but at this moment I do not know how to use it, because probably I have never used it in this field. Such is the great potential we have of our own equipments, the mind and intellect. Yet we do not know how to use it. And as Kathopanishad says that with this mind only you can attain the infinite. Manaseva vedam aptavyam. That with this mind only you have to attain it, because that's only the equipment you have. And yet how can this finite mind attain the infinite? Whether it's infinite success, whether it is infinite glory, whether it is the very infinite God itself. How do we achieve it? How do we attain it? The rishis found out the secret. And amongst the rishis, which rishi? His name is Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra was a great king, a mighty king, a very powerful king. But when he came to sage Vashishta, he came to his small little hermitage. This story is very important. Even if you come from any culture, don't worry about the characters. Yeah? You will discover that how this potential lies in each one of you. And this story exists even today. Great sage Vishwamitra, what was he? He was a king, a mighty warrior. He came to the humble hermitage of sage Vashishta. When he came to the hermitage of sage Vashishta, Vashishji saw the king come in. And king rules the country. And a king is not just a rich man. He is the one who serves the country, runs the country. Therefore, it was important The sage invited the king and said, "You've come to the forest, stay in my hermitage." Vishwamitra laughed and he said that, "Sage, we do not want to be a burden on you. We king, princes and warriors, we need quite a lot." Looking at the humble hermitage, he said, "May I go on my journey?" Sage Vashishtha said, "No, stay here." And to the surprise of Vishwamitra, Sage Vashishtha provided for them such a comfortable stay, such elaborate food. And today also, if you go to ashrams, it is amazing. Yeah, the food that you get there, you get nowhere. In our Melbourne and our other ashrams, you see the youngsters, every lunch and dinner, they flock there only. Yeah. And that's why when mothers, their sons want to become brahmacharis or swamis, no? They worry, what will my child eat? I said, come to the ashram, you'll come to know. Yeah. How does it come there? How come there is so much productivity? Vishwamitra was quite amused by the amount that he gave them for their comfort, for their food, etc. He said, where does this sage get all this from? And then he heard through the grapevine that the sage has got a cow that can milk out anything, including tents, including 5-star hotels, including food, including gold. Yeah. Vishwamitra said, well, I am the king, then I should have this cow. So he demanded of Vashishtha. He said, give me this cow. Vashishtha said, this cow is not for greedy people. Yeah. It is not for hoarding. This Kamadhenu is meant only for those who know how to give and share. But he thought it must be a physical cow. Now, Vashishtha could not give him the cow even if he wanted to, because it's not a physical cow. The cow very represents what we spoke of yesterday. Giving the maximum, taking the least. And as our mission pledge goes, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. This is the secret of productive life. This is the secret where society progresses. This is the yajna spirit. And in this spirit, when we work, not only there is great productivity, there is also purity. Thus, the whole Gita, the first 5 chapters, is teaching us how to act in the spirit of yajna. Vishwamitra said, well, I am the king, then I should have this cow. So he demanded of Vashishtha. He said, give me this cow. Vashishtha said, this cow is not for greedy people. Yeah. It is not for hoarding. This Kamadhenu is meant only for those who know how to give and share. But he thought it must be a physical cow. Now, Vashishtha could not give him the cow even if he wanted to, because it's not a physical cow. The cow very represents what we spoke of yesterday. Giving the maximum, taking the least. And as our mission pledge goes, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. This is the secret of productive life. This is the secret where society progresses. This is the yajna spirit. And in this spirit, when we work, not only there is great productivity, there is also purity. Thus, the whole Gita, the first 5 chapters, is teaching us how to act in the spirit of yajna. And that was the first initiation given to the child. When he is given the sacred thread, you have 3 debts to pay back. You have duty towards your ancestors and therefore the cultural heritage and profession. You have the duty towards nature, therefore the entire cosmos. And you have duty towards spirituality, towards the rishis. You have to pay back that debt. In that, don't think that by doing their duties that they would lose anything. By doing their duties in this manner, when you talk about purity, yesterday when I spoke about purity, I'm sure half the people were afraid. Because nobody thinks that they are pure. But the impurity of our mind, which creates all the confusion in our mind and leads us even to commit crimes, is none other than our likes and dislikes. Therefore Gita says, Tayorna Vashama Gachet. Do not come under, likes and dislikes will rise in the mind. Mind will have likes and dislikes. Do not be swayed by these 2 opposing forces. They are that which causes the confusion in your intellect. And the Bhagavad Gita teaches in the first 5 chapters before meditation, the Bhagavad Gita teaches that those who do their bounden duties, dedicating it to the higher, accepting the results as prasad, as gift, with total acceptance, such people, all the mental agitations to a great extent comes to a standstill. To a great extent. Not all of it. It comes to a standstill. Yesterday I was talking about parents who do complain that how our children, we look after them, do our duties towards them, and finally what do they do to us? Abandon us at old age. Is not one of the responsibilities of the parents to teach their children their duties? But most parents will always teach their children duty that you should be looking after us. But remember, if you make them selfish from the world, then one day that selfishness will creep into their relationship with their parents. But those parents who teach their children not only their duties towards their ancestors, but duties towards society, duty towards the rishis, duty towards the guru. Therefore, this Gayatri Mantra initiation is given in the presence of the guru, but the initiation is given by the father. It's passed on by the father. But today fathers themselves don't do Gayatri Mantras. Yet they will go, it's a tradition, they'll give their sacred thread to the child and then under one blanket whisper them something because the Pandit is repeating. And afterwards neither father nor son do the Gayatri Mantra. All these explanations to make you understand that Gayatri Mantra is not something just think that you just chant or sing nowadays. It's a very, very powerful tool. This spirit of Yajna that Vasishtha was trying to communicate to Vishwamitra, that I cannot give you this cow because a selfish king cannot possess it. Not because a cow cannot be given to him. Vishwamitra did not understand. He got into a war with Vasishtha with mighty weapons, and he could not conquer this ascetic, because one who has got the spirit of renunciation, which is born from the spirit of sharing and giving, such a mighty person cannot be conquered by anybody. Defeated, Vishwamitra recognized that with great austerities you become powerful. To become as powerful as Vasishtha, the great sage Vishwamitra, who turned out to be a great sage. First in a spirit, typical Rajasic king, in a sense of competitiveness, But it's good to have competition with good people. It's good to have competition with noble people. It's good to have competition with saintly people. It's good to have competition with achievers. Rather than those petty quarrels that people have with losers. Thus he wanted to become as powerful as Vashisht ji. And that day he became as equal to Vashisht ji. He lost his ego and realized that that Kamdenu was with him all the time. That's why Vashisht ji could not give him. And that was the spirit of doing your duty in the spirit of sharing. Because you have the potential, you have a duty to live up to your potential. Because you've got an ability or talent, you have a duty to live up to that ability or talent. And to express that talent was the teaching from childhood to the child. That if you are an engineer, with engineering you serve the society, your prosperity will grow. But at the same time, your inner potentials will manifest itself in greater capacity. When you say duty, 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 at such time I have to tell the parents who come and sometimes complain like that you have not done your duties. Number one, you should have taught your children your duty. Did you teach them the Ramayana? Yeah. You took them for piano lessons and dancing lessons, which later on they will never do it. But if you tell them to take them to Balvihar class, Saturday, Swamiji, they've got golf. Yeah. They have to go for that dance party. Yes. Then when they become teenagers and come late at home, don't complain. Yeah. That's the time we have to give them the values. That's why it is clearly pointed out how to bring up children. Those who have heard the talks on parenting in this hall itself, if not, get those cassettes and CDs. Our rishis have even given us how to gradually be an effective parent. And this talk of parenting, don't understand it's only for your children. At every age, even if you are 60, you have to start parenting yourself. So what you've lost out, you can parent yourself. That parenting is that the first 5 years of the child, lalayet, not pamper, show all your affection to the child. Let that child grow in confidence. Let him have the mother with him or her all the time, that the child feels secure in love. The tragedy of modern living today is where both mother fathers are not available. Children may grow up with all education. But why are relationships breaking of young people today around the world? Because they are not secure. Give them that security of love. The next 10 years, Tadayet. Tadayet does not mean what commonly you understand in your language, beat them up. Tadayet means teach them, educate them. That is the second birth. If those 10 years you've given them the right values, the right education, not only of how to make money, but how to live life, then after that in teenage, be a friend to them. You don't have to worry. Many a times I remember when we grow into young adults, people used to wonder, how come, used to ask my father, how come you never stop your children from going anywhere? He says, I have given them the right values and education as a child. I am confident in my upbringing. My children will never do anything wrong. He never had to worry where we went, what time we came, what choices we made in our life, because he was confident about the upbringing. This is that upbringing which starts with the Gayatri Mantra initiation. So one of the duty of the parents is to teach their children their duties, more through their demonstration rather than by telling them. They keep telling them, you must respect your parents, and they find their parents how they are talking to their parents. So children learn from example more than anything else. Thus, when Vishwamitra wanted this cow, just as we want that prosperity, we want that happiness in life, we go for blessings from saints and sages, but true saints and sages will tell you, we cannot bless you, we can only instruct you. And that is the blessings. Vishwamitra was not. He just wanted the cow. Just give me, touch me on my head and things will be okay. But Vashishji did not give him such a cow. He made him become such a cow. And when Vishwamitra reached that state, which unlike most parents do not reach, unfortunately I have to tell those parents at that time, sadly enough, you've not done your duty. Number one, you did not teach your children their duties. And number two is that if you have done your duties properly, the result of doing your duties is that you are free of likes and dislikes. Shri Ramchandra ji has said in Ram Gita, Dharamate birati jogate jnana. Jnana moksha prada beda bakana. This is how the entire Gayatri Mantra theme will go. If you have performed your duties, and don't understand duties only as family duties, that's selfish. If you have performed all your duties, your professional duty, your social duties, your spiritual duties, your personal duties, your family duties, the result of that is that you become independent and free, and that is called as Vairagya. You are no longer dependent. You will not sit and cry why this one did this to me and why that one did this to me, why my children are not looking after me. The duty of the children is towards their parents, but the duty of the parents is to free the children and not be dependent on them, so that the next generation can benefit. That's why these duties are taught to them. So what is the purpose of meditation? How to prepare yourself for meditation is very simple. It is not difficult. He who has done his bounden duties in the spirit of detachment, such a person is a yogi fit for meditation. You don't require to stand on your head, twist your body, or do some acrobatics, or go for some great Tirth Yatras, pilgrimages. One who has done his duties, such a person is fit for meditation. Not very difficult. That's why the child is taught with that Janeyu. Then, as I pointed out, what is the purpose of meditation? It is to abide in your own true nature. Therefore, the purpose of meditation, as I said, peace is not something to be gained. Peace is that which is already there. Those very, very subtle blueprints, character traits, subtle likes and dislikes, deep-rooted vasanas and impressions. To remove that is meditation. For this subtle purification is meditation. And yesterday I pointed out what is required for meditation or even achievement in the world, whether studies or anything. What is required is, as I said, purity with concentration, clarity of vision with meditation. Yeah, I explained these things very briefly yesterday. Now, all this, which appears so difficult, can be easily achieved through a very, very powerful tool that this great sage Vishwamitra gave us. His name Vishwamitra. Mitra means friend and Vishwa means of the entire universe. And therefore he gave us a mantra. And I explained yesterday, mantra, which means that which protects us. He gave us a mantra, and that mantra is so universal. All mantras are not for everybody. There are certain specific mantras. Certain specific mantras that can be done only by certain type of people, under certain conditions, etc. But Vishwamitra gave that mantra that was universal for everybody. Because he is Vishwamitra, the friend of the entire universe. A mantra that was so universal, so powerful, that what he wanted to achieve, the highest, he achieved it, and he gave us this mantra. These mantras were not created by these rishis, it was revealed to them. And even as we initiate you now into this Gayatri mantra, one is the initiation that the Guru chants it, you listen to it, and then you repeat it. This is just the word mantra. Then the mantra has its rishi. You have to be grateful to that rishi. You have to be grateful to the Guru. You have to be grateful to the rishi. Because when there is a sense of gratitude, then that mantra abides in you. Then the Guru, who has himself chanted this mantra, he gives you the bhavana, the feeling in it. He vitalizes it with his own presence. And therefore the mantra develops a Shakti. Mantra has its own Shakti. But with Bhakti, its Shakti is even enhanced. And the highest mantra, the depth you can go, is when the Guru unfolds the meaning of this mantra to us. And in unfolding the meaning of the mantra, he's already unfolding your potential to flower and bear fruit. So don't understand this as some ordinary, chanting of the mantra. If you've taken it with the right attitude, then you will see the benefit. And a time will come when you actually practice it in this manner. When you practice it, you will find that not only you are chanting the mantra, you will see the whole universe resounding this mantra. Thus these mantras were not created by the rishis. They heard these mantras. That's why they are called as Shruti. They heard these mantras. And when they heard this mantra, they didn't keep it to themselves. They didn't hoard it to themselves. They didn't make copyrights out of it. That's how recently all knowledge has been lost in India, because first it became a family tradition and finally it was held only with individuals, and those individuals died without sharing it with others. Thus most of our spiritual knowledge almost died. It was sages like Vishwamitra and the people who had that spirit of Vishwamitra, the missionary zeal, like Swami Vivekananda and our Gurudev, who in their love for mankind shared it with everybody. Really speaking, mantra, Gayatri mantra is given to brahmachari students. They are given to grahastha, and up till your vanaprastha, your retired age, till you die, you should be chanting the Gayatri mantra, or till you get sannyas. And therefore, really speaking, sannyasis don't even chant Gayatri mantra. But we are ready to do that crime. because Pandits don't know how to explain. Yeah. This Vishwamitra gave this Gayatri mantra for everybody. Mind you, it is not for any caste, creed, religion. So universal is this mantra, so powerful is this mantra, because it directly deals with your intellect. Thus, after having given the preparation to the student, when the father hands over the child to the guru and instructs the child that now you live a life of discipline and self-control, serving the guru, and along with the purity of the body and cleanliness of the body and regular discipline, the child is then given, for the purity of the mind, the Gayatri mantra. As I said, you cannot meditate till your mind is pure. But how will your mind become pure? One is through dedicated service. How will your mind become single-pointed? When you're dedicated to your duty, there is single-pointedness. But still, this is gross concentration and gross purity, which is essential. But the subtle purity, where your mind is free of all conflicting likes and dislike, conflicting thoughts, when the mind becomes calm and peaceful, where the intellect becomes bright and can make the right decisions, and becomes open for even the knowledge of the infinite, the self-knowledge. For that, from the starting till your final realization, this Gayatri mantra is useful. And that is what we are going to now reveal. So what is meditation? Who is the meditator? What is the purpose of meditation? We have pointed out to you. Now, how to meditate? So meditation is not something to do, but abidance in yourself is meditation. But preparation for meditation, one of the most powerful means by which you can get the purity of mind as well as the concentration of mind, is mantra japa. Japa means constant repetition. Mantra is that the one who thinks about it, it protects that person. Mananat trayate iti mantraha. And this most powerful mantra was given to the student. About this mantra, it is said that when the heavenly denizens, and why the word is using heavenly denizens means those who are great achievers, those who are living in joy and happiness, in success and prosperity, those who live a harmonious life in society, they are called as Devatas. And such people, for after having, and you'll find also in business, in your profession, in your studies, you reach a certain limit, and after that you don't seem to progress further. You have limited yourself. That's as far as so-called the intellect that you came with can go. Yet everybody wants to conquer in their field, whether their profession, their studies, to achieve the greatest mark. These Devtas, they heard that there is a knowledge, and you know that knowledge is power. There is a knowledge by which you can know everything about the universe and therefore conquer the universe. They went to Brahmaji, the creator, and went to the Lord and asked him, please give us that by which we come to know the whole world, and once you know it, you can conquer it. Brahmaji gave them the Veda, and Veda in 3 verses, 3 metrical forms it is, and therefore even though the 4 volumes of Veda, the Vedas are 3. The Rig, the Yaju and the Sama. These are three types of mantra. The Rig mantras, the Yajur mantras and the Sama mantras. He gave them the three Vedas. Those Vedas were voluminous. To even memorize them and to contemplate upon them, to even understand their basic meaning, even the Devatas found it very, very difficult. They tried it for many thousands of years, which means it's a culture that has grown over years. For generations they tried and finally they failed. And they came up to Brahmaji and said, even to memorize this is difficult. How can we keep it in our mind to find out the secret? Can you give us in short? And therefore, out of the three Vedas, Brahmaji extracted 3 sentences. Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. He extracted these 3 lines and he gave it to them. These 3 lines also, when the Devatas tried to contemplate on it, they found it was too much. So they came back to Brahmaji also and said, Father, oh Father in heaven, please, this is also too much, because there are 24 syllables in it. 24 things to remember and understand everything. We are finding it so difficult. Could you please give us something in short? So out of these 3 lines, he took out the 3 Vyavrittis. Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha. After these 3 words also, so from the 3 Vedas, 3 sentences. From the 3 sentences, 3 words. After some time they came back and said, even this is too much for us. But when we are not sincere, no, everything is too much for us. Yeah. So they came back, and out of those 3 words he extracted that one word of 3 syllables, A, U and Ma, Om. They said, before we go and then come back, can you go for something shorter? He said, other than Om is silence. And in silence you have already attained it. So there is nothing for me to explain. Therefore, that's it. And the combination of Om, Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha, Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat became the full Gayatri Mantra as we have it today. We will chant it and then go into how the child and how you can introduce the children into this Gayatri Mantra. How the teenagers, how beneficial it is, and how to the adults, and then to the highest spiritual seeker. So now we will chant this mantra. Please sit straight. Chant loudly, clearly, listen to it. And as I said, in chanting, in Vedic chanting, the word Swaha becomes Suvaha. Yeah. So Swaha becomes Suvaha in Vedic chanting. This is the proper Vedic method to chant, even though Gayatri has been chanted in many sing-song ways. But the Vedic mantra is like this. And if you all now chant properly, you will feel the power of it. Not only how it quietens the whole atmosphere, which is already quiet here, but you will be surprised, it will not only radiate in this hall, but even it will have the effect